going through here and making sure that the audio is good to go. Yeah, so Circle stock is doing well. Figure is the other one that we're looking at as well as just like a digital asset framework for your portfolio. Currently sitting at 35, hit 42 on Wednesday of last week, but definitely up from its lows. Let's take a look. 1 second. One moment. Advanced audio properties. Okay. All right. All right. It's definitely a little bit delayed today. Sometimes you just you kind of go on these things and you're like, okay, let's see how the day treats you in terms of technology wise. But I think overall it's okay. Let's see how the day treats you in terms of technology wise. But yeah, I think it's good. All right. So that's Figure. And then we're gonna go into a little bit about just the news in general. I mean, you know what? Like the Iran conflict is really sucking the wind out of a lot of sales here. Overall, the sentiment on my side of things looks like that we're like these little bounces here. Some people are saying that we're at kind of a market bounce here, and this is the bottom. But it does seem that we are. Oh, Trump is currently left. He just said U.S. doesn't need help with reopening. Let's take a look at this. I haven't seen
confident that France will help with the reopening of Strait of Hormuz?
Yeah, I mean, sure. I think he's going to help. I mean, I'll let you know. I spoke to him yesterday. I don't do a hard sell on them because my attitude is we don't need anybody. We're the strongest nation in the world. We have the strongest military by far in the world. We don't need them. But it's interesting. I'm almost doing it in some cases, not because we need them, but because I want to find out how they react. Because I've been saying for years that if we ever did need them, they won't be there. Not all of them, but they won't be there.
it's a question of like I do find it interesting that he's using it kind of as a trip to see how people would support the United States in a time of conflict. It's a little bit concerning to see. He's saying that this is the time to go ask and see whether or not they would support. But is this really the time or the place to be testing your allies to come into a conflict? Which the U.S. did come in. They said we're it's not a regime change. It's specifically to take out specific military powers of Iran. But now you have people stepping in, right, and trying to reopen the Strait of Hormuz. However, it looks like that we're having trouble as the United States for bringing other people in. So that's certainly something that I think they would have liked to have seen more international support. But at this point, we're spending about $1 billion a day covering this.
Are you confident that France will help?
He was talking about France in that clip. Let's see. I don't think there's any. There's a couple news that we're going to get into regarding NVIDIA. But aside from that, it's really about the Iran conflict. As you can see, the oil industry. Oh God, the oil industry is really taking a crack in here. Interesting. Let's just take a look at this Apple headline. Apple's cheap AI bet could pay off big. Let's take a look at this. I always like archive.is is a good. Let's see if it pulls it. This is always one website that I use to pull articles down. But overall, Apple hasn't been participating in the AI race. So they're basically letting everybody else spend all of their time, energy, and money. Dollars. The artist Robin Gunningham, of 51 of Bristol, was able to blend in by changing his name to David Jones, which is a popular men's name in the UK. So it seems like this guy changed his name to blend in the auction room during that time. So let's just take a look. It's kind of crazy to just imagine like you're a world-renowned artist and so infamous graffiti artist known as Banksy has finally been unmasked after changing his name to something generic so he could hide in plain sight. The notorious guerrilla street artist was identified as Robin Gunningham. Oh, it was a detailed investigation by Reuters. Let's take a look at this. We'll have Grok do a little analysis. So, according to the investigation, concludes beyond dispute that Banksy is Robin Gunningham, a Bristol-born artist, born in 1973. Fun fact, I actually had a 1973 Carmen Ghia that I was restoring with my dad back in high school. Great car. He was previously identified in 2008 mail on Sunday investigation, but largely disappeared from public records afterwards. We're gonna take that one out. The name change for anonymity. Around 2008, Gunningham legally changed his name. Reuters identified this new man as David Jones, which is an extremely common British name chosen deliberately to help him hide in plain sight and avoid traceable records. So some of the evidence that they had for Banksy was a 2000 New York arrest for defacing Mark Jacobs billboard. Police and court records include handwritten confession signed by Robin Gunningham, plus his signature and details match early Banks history. He painted rooms as Robin Banks. Interesting. Photos from various sources show consistent physical traits linking to the same person. School records from Bristol Cathedral School show early artwork and activities as by Gunningham that align with Banksy's style and background. No public records place Gunningham during the Banksy's 2022 murals here, but the immigration sources confirmed David Jones entered and exited Ukraine alongside photographer Giles Dooley and Robert Dale Naja. So they did some deep investigation work to get to this point. Let's see if there's any Robin Gunningham. I mean, Banksy's artwork has sold for many, many millions. He seems to be he seems to be relatively like he has photos of him all over the place. It would be very funny if this guy just turns out to be just like some random guy. Just like a random dude that they just found as and just said, "Oh, this guy's Banksy. This guy's Banksy." All right. Let's go through. Separately, just a little bit on the BTC headlines. Bitcoin has definitely rallied. It's at 73,900, along with Solana, which is around 95. So we are seeing some digital assets rally up here. But that is the case. I just want to quickly touch on that before we move on. Solana futures sitting at 95, and we're closing on the day up overall 1%. So everything's trending well. So we're just gonna switch back. Here are some of the bookmarks I had today. I mean, throughout the day, it just becomes crazier and crazier. But this is interesting. Trump reportedly briefed that Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, is probably gay. This seems like a military tactic, like the tabloids reporting that an Islamic leader, which to be gay in Islam is obviously not kosher, no pun intended. But to think about that, it just seems like that's just like a story that people made up. It would be very odd for this to be the case. In fact, I wonder if there's any more news about this, because this was something that was trending early on in the day. I'm like reading through this. Was briefed. The president was briefed on U.S. intelligence about the supreme leader last week. According to the report in the New York Post, it indicated that the new leader and son of late supreme leader Ali Khamenei was gay, and his father was concerned that he was not suitable to rule the Islamic Republic because of it. It's just oh, let's go through the comments. Let's go through the comments here. My obsession. Nothing here is of any value. Still talking about Epstein in the comments, which hasn't been really talked about in a little bit. In other news, something else that we saw happen was Cled AI, which is doing a human data marketplace. Up their round. I haven't seen this very often where somebody actually like closes out their round, and weeks later they say that they have a pretty substantial amount of new dollars come in at that price round. I would be curious if it was at that price round, but that is the case. They did have new investors, and it seems to be. Though they haven't announced it, it seems to be pretty solid. Looks like we need to up. Let me. I'll be back in a second. It's Wi-Fi New York. Sometimes you gotta make do. are back. Oh. We're back at it. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Oh, hold on. We'll reload this. There was like crazy turn of events today. My girlfriend had just some crazy stuff happen to her. Like, it's tax season is crazy when you trust other people to do your taxes or like withhold taxes. Just make sure that you're like reading everything. They ended up like forgetting a line item, and like she had to pay all this money, and all of a sudden they just like figured out that it was missing a line item, and all of a sudden it was like completely like turned around and a totally different like a totally different story. So make sure when you're doing your taxes you're like properly going like reading line by line what's going on, because in this case it was quite a significant sum of money. So for those who are doing taxes at the moment, wow. ICO Beast. I just follow. I do enjoy this. Um, looks like Blast is up like 20%. I'm not sure who's actually. I'm not sure who's actually using Blast, but that's interesting. Jim Cramer has said that we're at like market bottom, so we'll see what that goes. Yeah, reportedly. Okay, yeah. Oh no. Yeah, Trump reportedly briefed that Iran's new supreme leader, Mojtaba Khamenei, is probably gay. That's 31 minutes old. Again, we've been saying this for a while. Ray Dalio, even. It all comes down to who controls the Strait of Hormuz, the final battle. Wow. So it's very clear. Like this is strictly the only thing that people are interested in, which is this control over the strait. I mean, this is why you wonder why this is such a big deal. That this is it. This is. I mean, like you're just seeing. Gosh, I don't know how many areas on the planet where if you control